Chapter 3. The white line of the graph in front of her spiked wildly against its black background, and Joan jumped to her feet in triumph. It worked! She realized now that she had been subconsciously terrified that she had just imagined that jolt, but she hadn't. The key was really connected to the curse. She spun around in place, losing her balance and plopping down right in Brandon's lap. She threw her arms around his shoulders and kissed him with wild abandon, savoring the intoxicating flavor of strawberries and rum. Everything tasted better through Brandon's lips. She felt his arms slide around her waist as he enthusiastically returned the kiss. After a moment, she came up for air, pulling her head back and grinning at him, and his daiquiri-stained lips twitched in response. "It worked," she told him. "Yeah, I definitely felt a jolt. I mean, I was expecting it, but it still caught me off guard. Luckily, I was distracted from the traumatic memories of being cursed when you flung yourself into my lap and started making out with me." Blushing, Joan stood up, brushing herself off. "Right, sorry. Got a little carried away." "No need to be sorry. Did you get the data you needed?" "Crap!" Joan bent and looked at her laptop. "I got the data from the moment you saw it, but it would have liked to have been able to monitor the after effects." "Why can't you?" "Because now what we've got is the data on the effects of a woman landing in your lap and kissing you." "Damn. Well, since the good stuff is already ruined, maybe we should just get more of that kind of data, just in case." Joan picked up a dull yellow pencil and threw it in his general direction, missing by a mile. He ducked anyway, pulling off some of the sensors in the process. She sighed. "Let's just get that machine off of you. I hope we can get enough volunteers for further tests to make up for this one." She knelt beside him and began carefully peeling the remaining sensors off his chest. He laughed. "And I hope you can resist those volunteers." Joan glared at him, deliberately pinching as she removed the next one. "I think I'll manage." "Ow!" She felt immediate remorse at her vindictive behavior. "Sorry." Joan took more care with the rest of the sensors and then gently unbuckled the helmet and removed it from his head, running a quick hand through his soft hair to smooth it down. "Nope. That way madness lies." She hurriedly stood up, swaying at the sudden change in elevation, but somehow managing not to fall on her face, and stashed the helmet back in its cupboard. She returned to her stool to look at the data collected. "Okay, so it's really clear right here that this is the moment you saw the key." Joan pointed to the first spike in the graph. Brandon leaned over her shoulder as he put his shirt back on and smacked her in the back of the head with his arm. "Oh shit, sorry." She didn't turn around. "I'm sure I deserved it. Now we're even." She indicated the next section of the line. "Then it looks like your levels remained heightened, just briefly, after the initial jolt. See, they don't level off right away, not until 2 seconds later, which argues for lingering energetic transference." He pointed to another area, his finger brushing the screen. "Okay, but then it goes right back up, over here." "Yes, well, apparently our kiss was also quite electrical." His chest was against her back, and she could feel his laugh before she heard it, that deep, rich chuckle that was Brandon's alone. His chuckle had a way of wrapping itself around her like a warm, soft blanket. Then his arms wrapped around her, too, and she looked down at his forearms, nestled against her belly. The chuckle and the forearms, a dangerous combination for her libido. She swiveled to face him, gazing upward into his laughing brown eyes. He looked into her blue eyes and lowered his face. His lips grazed hers for just a moment. Then he stepped back, grinning. "There, now we're even." Her heart racing, it took a moment for Joan to get his meaning. Wait, he'd kissed her as a joke? Well, fine, she didn't need him anyway. She turned back to her computer, busying herself with saving their work, closing the laptop with a snap and standing to stow it in its storage spot atop a cabinet near the outlet. "Huh, you call that even? A teeny little peck like that for my full-on makeout? Get out of here, Barber." Okay, I'm going. Listen, babe, come by the bar tomorrow after work, once we've both had a chance to think about everything, and we'll swap notes on this key business." She turned around again, watching him pull on his deep red leather jacket. "Sounds good." Brandon sauntered out, and Joan flung herself back onto her stool, folding down over the table, resting her forehead on the hard stainless steel. This was ridiculous. They had 5 months left to break this curse, and she couldn't seem to keep it in her pants. She sat up and picked up the key, holding it tightly, memorizing its jags with her fingers, hardening her resolve to concentrate solely on it until the solution was found. Yes, Brandon would be helpful with the work, but others could help too. A buffer, that's what she needed. In fact, the others were probably clamoring to get in on it. She grabbed her phone out of her back pocket. Yep, there they were. Texts from Veronica, Derek, and Ed. Joan looked at Veronica Grinners first. Sweetie, why didn't you message me directly? I'm coming up there. I'll need to stay in your spare room, okay? I'll drive up tomorrow. Ugh, who took the time to type in sweetie in a text message? To say nothing of all the times Joan had asked her not to call her that. It was starting to feel vindictive. She messaged back, I have limited space. Can't you stay with your mom? She checked the next message, which was from Derek Pandora, a.k.a. the most pompous ass who ever lived. I've booked an immediate flight and will be arriving in Portland tomorrow. I will require the use of your lab in your home. Joan emitted a small groan. Another one who wanted to stay with her. Before responding, she clicked over to Ed Lockhart's message, praying he and his incessant pot smoking had somewhere else to stay. Yo, I can drive down tomorrow if you want some help with this key. I can crash on my dad's couch for as long as I need. Let me know if you need me. Joan felt a pang of remorse for her unkind thoughts. Ed might be a stoner, but he was nothing if not considerate. She typed out a quick, grateful affirmative to him, and then clicked back to respond to Derek. Before she had a chance, the phone chirped and a new text from Veronica popped up. My mother moved to Portland a couple of years ago. I'll need to stay with you, sweetie. I'll be there tomorrow afternoon. And that was that. Knowing Veronica, any protests would be gently but firmly deflected. Joan shrugged and texted Derek. There would be no budging him either. Veronica has already claimed the guest room, but you can have the couch in the living room. And yes, you can use my lab too. She hit send, and then typed out a brief description of the experiment she had run on Brandon as well, omitting everything after the initial spike of energy and making a mental note to erase that data from her computer. Derek was a renowned neuropsychologist. Hopefully he would be able to expand on the experiment and provide more nuanced equipment. Yawning, Joan stretched, stood, and switched off the lights. She wandered back into the house to feed her cat Friday and rummaged in the fridge for her own dinner. She settled on a slice of only 2-day-old sausage and mushroom pizza and the rest of her daiquiri, and then ambled off to bed.